Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chill Film Discussions. Apologies for being a bit late today. Had to eat something before, but we're here and back for another episode. Today we watched, or not today, we discussed Napoleon Dynamite, a cult classic. It's a comedy film that follows the life of an awkward high school student known as Napoleon Dynamite. This film was very unique. It basically, in some sense, defied expectations because a lot of what happened wasn't what I expected it to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like the whole love situation or romantic love interest situation between Napoleon and Deborah. I thought there was going to be like a love triangle, but that didn't end up happening. And then, of course, there was a scene at the end with Uncle Rico and Deborah where he's trying to sell her on breast implants, but it looked like he was about to like do something really slimy, which thank goodness didn't happen. Um, but also Kip and his girlfriend, like I didn't really expect that to be a thing, but
Right.
her girlfriend was real. Um, yeah, I mean, in this whole film, like I would just say that in some sense, I mean, there is definitely humor in it. It's very like dry humor, but there is humor. And Napoleon himself, at least in my opinion, is very like I wonder I like root for him, and sometimes he's very relatable and that like there's you know he's like this like socially awkward guy in high school and um he's not ill mannered or ill and like doesn't have ill intent. It's just like he's just himself and he's unapologetic. Oh my god, I can't even pronounce this word. Like he
Unapologetic.
God unapologetically himself. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Um, and that's what I really like about him, and I root for him. So yeah, I can appreciate the film for that sense, but it it was very, hmm, it was just there. Like there was just other than like the Pedro for President shirts, because of course that was like throwback to like my middle school, high school days.
Yeah.
Um, and also the dance sequence at the end, which was phenomenal. Gave me quite a chuckle just to see. Um, it wasn't like super memorable in some sense, but um, yeah, it definitely there are moments when it like yeah defied expectations. Um, not that I really expected much from the film to begin with. Yeah, that's sort of my yep. Those are my concluding remarks.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um. All right. Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of, as you said, echo each other here on the way we feel
Yes,
this movie.
sir.
Yeah. Not too much plot. At least in the beginning, not too much plot going on. Right. We just see him, trying to, you know, see how he gets through high school and who this character is. So not much is happening, and I don't remember the beginning. I'm just like wondering, why am I watching this, or like why is this movie being made? What are we trying to do here? Later it does have a some semblance of a plot, right? He's trying to find a way to get a girl for the dance, right? And then it later turns on
Yes.
to the real major point, especially the second half of the movie where Pedro is running for president, right? And they're trying to help him win and do all these other shenanigans, right? And that's where I think it gets interesting. It really wraps you in. Otherwise, throughout
Yeah.
the film, it's just like, oh well, at least the beginning, I'm just like, oh, I'm not too sure like where I'm getting at. The characters are
Yeah.
interesting, and the dynamics are there, right? As I said, I think all the pieces are there, but put them together, there is a story, but sometimes it does the story is not as interesting. But the characters themselves, breaking them down, you do have like as you said, like different dynamics. Napoleon is this weird awkward guy, but he changes. Everyone changes, has this kind of evolution, right? Kip as well, with LaFonda. Rico
Yep.
kind of gets his just desserts, right? Even Deb, kind of gets the relationship, but cuts together at the end. But again, their relationship is not really the main focus at all throughout this film. It's really just Napoleon and how he gets through life. Um,
Yeah.
but even then, this movie is pretty linear. I think the writing was while the some of the dialogue was dry, it was never something that gave me secondhand embarrassment or something that was felt like cringy. I could enjoy the
Yeah.
film as it was. Right? I
Yeah.
think I was just questioning like what's happening at the times until like again the second half of the movie. The opening credits I thought was impressive. I really enjoyed it. It just was very unique. And I was like, oh, this is a great way to show the credits and take it on. So I thought that was very inventive and creative.
I'll talk about that. Apparently, each of the credits was introduced like with the food
Yeah.
in that character's name. That character apparently ate that food at some point in the
Oh,
film.
okay. So that's yeah. So it's just interesting
Yeah, fun
callback,
fact
right?
about that.
They sort
Yeah,
of do that at the beginning and then put it at, throughout the film. And then, as you said, I think the dance scene at the end was also very interesting and exciting. The most exciting thing, right? Just because it's like, oh yeah, you have this whole very long sequence, and they shot it pretty well too. I just thought it's very creative and funny, and just
meme
moving for
worthy.
that long. Right, but it just I think one of the more funny and exciting moments of the
Yeah,
movie, just like, oh yeah, this is
for sure.
happening, and he gets a standing applause, because he deserves it, because this very
Yeah,
funny, interesting dance. So, that's how we can enjoy it. So, I think this movie had its ups and downs, but it was, I think, just technically it was shot well, but just other portions I was just like, oh, it's kind of slow at times. But yeah, the characters were fun, interesting, and this movie did had, I don't remember if it had an after credits scene, um,
yes,
right,
yes.
which
The
was
wedding, which was shot later.
yeah, had
They
the
added
wedding
back to the film. Yeah,
much later, and that was kind of funny, just to see Napoleon riding on the horse. It's just like, oh wow, he definitely defined them, his image there. He finally can looks almost kind of like Prince Charming, but you're trying to ride on the horse, but then it's just like, yeah, gives it away.
yeah.
So
Right.
yeah,
Well, that's oh yeah, I went through our ratings. Yes. Um, okay, so for my rating, um, yeah, I think I'd give this film a 6.
a
This
6.
film is a 6. It's a 6 for me. Yeah, I was actually thinking of giving it a 5 earlier, but now that I've like realized how much this defied expectations, like I don't know if I would recommend it per se, because like, but I'd say it's like above average. For me. I'd say it's above average, but I don't know if I would recommend it. So it's a 6,
It's a
like
6.
6. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh man, 4. We got a 4. You're gonna give it a 4.
I would have given it a 4, but I think I'm gonna give it
Five.
a 5, because I feel
All
like
right.
after talking about like each of the characters, I mean, taking the story as a whole and just thinking the plot, it's like, oh, there's not too much to it. But then there was a
Yeah.
storyline. It is linear, right? But the
It is
characters
linear.
themselves have growth and evolution, and just some something that we can relate to, and there are things are there. I think taken as pieces, they are interesting, right? And especially I think the second half of the movie kind of saves the movie itself. The beginning, I was kind of like, I'm not too sure, and it's also shot
Right.
pretty well. I thought cinematically, the cinematography is all there. Like
Yeah.
I really I mean, I probably I appreciated it and noticed it because maybe I was a little bored with what was going on, but I thought it was shot well, and all the characters, again, were pretty fleshed out, right? I think Pedro was my favorite, right, and just how he represented it and how he interacted. So I thought it was again, a pretty average movie. What they produced, it's like, it's not the best thing I've seen, but also not like again the worst. Like the writing, again, usually what turns me off is like if the writing, I feel like it's like gives me secondhand embarrassment if I cringe too much. But I didn't do that. It's just, I think in comedies, I kind of, that's why I don't like comedies too much, just because sometimes that the writing or just the jokes don't land with me. Here, while some of the jokes don't land with me, I could find it funny, and just some of the irony, right? Just like, oh yeah, there's just a contrast, was kind of interesting enough. So.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Uh,
would. I probably would not recommend this movie, right? Just because I don't know. Think people will get take too much away. It's like, oh, what's happening here? Not too much
Yeah.
happens, right? But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's just the way that it was made. It's it's all right. To
It's
do.
all right. Average. You say it's
Yeah,
average.
exactly.
All right, cool. Well, that about wraps up our stream for today. We will be back next week, right?
Yeah.
Next week,
Yeah. Next
11
week.
a.m. Pacific time, with a new film, which we will put on our schedule because we haven't decided that yet. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in for this unique and hopefully expectation defying discussion slash film. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
All right.